Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby and I've got something very exciting for you. This is going to be the first Tier 7 premium medium tank in the game, the T-4485. If you're looking for a fantastically armoured tank that's a brilliant all-rounder, albeit with a slightly weaker gun that's capable of just going crazy around the battlefield and still earning enough money to take home the bread at the end of the day, then look no further than this T-4485. As it is a premium tank, you can use your crew. I'm using my T-62A crew here, and it'll be a great opportunity to train up your Russian medium crews. So let's take a look at this tank's stats. It has 1,150 hit points, that is the same as, for example, the Comet. It weighs just shy of 32 tons when fully equipped, and it has a great engine power of 520, which means that this thing can shift. It has an excellent top speed limit of 51.6 kilometers an hour, and an amazing traverse speed of 56 degrees a second. Now its hull armor at the front is 75 and fairly well angled. Its side armor is 75 as well, which is very impressive, but its rear lets it down slightly with 45 millimeters. That means that angling your tank at 45 degrees or just shy of will give this tank excellent opportunity to troll its enemies, especially if you reverse while being at this angle, trying to get them to aim at your tracks but miss and shoot onto your upper plate, almost giving you a very high chance of bouncing. Now the turret armor on this tank is okay, 115 at the front, 90 at the side and 75 at the rear. Its cupola is a pretty big weak point though. Keep that in mind when you're trying to engage tanks in turret versus turret action. Now the view range on this tank is also a very strong 370 meters, and the turret traverse speed allows this to quickly re-engage targets with 40 degrees a second. However, this is where the party ends, because this tank does have a very weak gun. Here we can see the gun on the T-3485 and the top 85mm that is a mountable on the T-3485. We can see that the tank has better rate of fire, worse penetration, that's right, worse penetration than a Tier 6 medium tank, slightly worse alpha damage which negates the rate of fire advantage, pretty terrible accuracy of 0.42, and a fairly standard 2.3 seconds aim time. I don't know about you guys, but I would probably rather have the gun that is mountable on the Tier 6 tank. So that's where the magical story of this T-4485 that was looking like it was going to be an incredible tank ends. It has a weak gun, which is very standard to most of the premium tanks in the game, and you're really going to have to flank your enemies to be able to use it effectively. Also, it is worth mentioning that if you thought, oh hell, I'll just fire premium ammunition when I really need to penetrate the target frontally, well that's not really going to be possible either, because even with your premium rounds you only have 167 millimeters of penetration. That's the same, for example, as the KV-5 with its standard rounds, just to give you an idea. So let's compare this tank to, for example, the gun on my favorite medium, the Comet. Here's the Russian 85mm compared to the quick-firing 77mm found on the Comet. We can see that the Comet's rate of fire is significantly better. Its penetration is 22mm better with its regular rounds, and 41mm better with its premium rounds. Its alpha damage is slightly worse, but its accuracy is much better, and its aim time is the same. The difference in the rate of fire is nearly made up for in the difference in the alpha damage. However, the Comet does still have about 5% more DPM. So you guys might be wondering, well, what's so special about the new Tier 7 Russian premium tank, the T-4485? Well, it gets premium matchmaking. This tank can never meet Tier 9 tank. That means the worst possible nightmare situation you're going to have in this tank is trying to engage an IS-3. And really, even if you fire premium rounds, you're not going to be able to penetrate the IS-3 frontally. That means that you better use your excellent maneuverability to flank him, to get his side of his tank and get his rear of his tank, and engage the enemy that way. One thing I will say, however, is that although the Comet has the better gun and it has the gun depression to go to boot, what the Comet is really bad at handling is, for example, Tier 5 tanks like the KV-1. The KV-1 can penetrate the front of the Comet nearly every time unless he's a basic player. However, when angled well, the T-4485 will be able to bounce a hell of a lot of Tier 5 and 6 tanks. And because it does have the premium matchmaking, it's going to meet a hell of a lot more Tier 5 and 6 tanks, as it will skip out the large glut of players who like to play Tier 9s. So anyway, now that we've taken a look at this fantastic new entry into the Russian medium premium line, let's take a look at how this tank performs in some gameplay. So here we go, we're playing in the T-4485 we're playing on the map that was only recently introduced in 8.8 back into the game in a renovated form, Swamp. And I feel that on Swamp I really like to get north as quickly as I can. Just taking a look at the T-34-85 in the game, I think is a rather nice looking tank. It's amazing to think this is a tier 7 because generally the tanks are a lot more boxy than this at tier 7. And really, apart from the gun, this is just a fantastic tank. So, looking at the track traverse speed, we're able to quickly make our way round on corners. And the top speed limit, even along the flats, is excellent. Here we can see a Type 64 against us, the new Tier 6 Chinese light tank, if you didn't know. I will have a review up on that as well, so if you're interested, think about going and checking that out. We're going to start engaging this KV-1S. So, immediately, we get penned by the KV-1S. Where did he shoot us? He shot us on this kind of driver's hatch slit. I'm not sure if that's a weak point. I thought my armor would be well angled enough maybe to bounce the 175mm shell. And if you guys didn't know, the rumors, well, they're at least delayed, but the KV-1S has kept its 122mm. Anyway, knowing that he's fired and he's got a long reload, I'm going to start to try and punish him. And there we can go. Well, there we see that the Type 64 sniped our cupola on top of the tank as well. So, oh gosh, we're not doing too well this game, are we? Fortunately for us, the Type 64 died. And now we can get to unload on this KV-1S. Now, the rate of fire on this tank is fantastic, as you saw there. We're able to brutalize him. Now we're looking for a shot at the Chinook-Kai, the new Japanese Tier 5 medium tank and the first Japanese tank in the game who's camping in their base. We know that they're there roughly, so we're going to fire some blind shots at them. Now we're going after the E-85. We're able to blitz through the front of his armor, and there we can see the PZ SFL 5. That is the new Tier 7 German tank destroyer, and it is an absolute beast. It has a Ferdinand gun at Tier 7, and it has the gun depression of a Dicamax. So we're able to give good lead at that Chinook-Kai. It's on a warpath straight down towards our friends. And you guys might be getting an idea of the rate of fire of this 85mm. It's rather nice. The DPM on this tank is fantastic if you can penetrate the enemy. And of course, firing at these new German tank destroyers with their ultra low armor is the perfect opportunity for this tank. We can also see that the aim time is not too bad. I think we hit his mantlet, probably the only part of his tank that actually has armor. I'm thinking I might have tracked him, so I'm going to fire a few blind shots here. The ammo is so cheap that it doesn't even really matter firing at these walls to take the walls out. We're looking for the kill. Oh, we missed the kill steal. Unfortunate for us, no kill steal. Kill steal denied. Okay, so now check out the maneuverability of this tank, able to get into position. We're at 31, going slightly upslope here. Our track traverse is simply incredible. We're able to quickly turn the tank to gain a better angle and to traverse around the terrain. Oh, that one donked. You really need to use the full 2.3 second aim time with the accuracy on this gun. But now we can see just how much we have to shoot a T-44-85 to take him out. Feels a bit like a comet, with the fact that you're basically peppering the opposition constantly. And we're able to quickly re-engage the other T-44-85. So just going to speed this game up a little bit here. We tracked him. but we failed to penetrate his tank even with our premium round, and our friends managed to take him out. And that was it. That was our game in the T4485. Let's take a look at some post-game stats. So here we go, we can see that we got 2,300 damage finishing top and getting 1,053 non-premium, non-double experience. The credit multiplier on this tank looks pretty high. 2,300 damage is not a huge game. We were able to still get quite a large amount of experience from it. We fired 29, quite a few of those were speculative, and we weren't even planning to hit the targets, they were just firing with opportunity. 21 hits, and of those 21, 18 penetrated. Of the hits that we received, 2 of them penetrated the tank, and only 1 of them didn't. I think on the test server it's not really the best place to be testing armor. I think that you really need to be on the live server playing against tier 5, 6, 7, and 8 tanks, when they're not firing premium ammunition, to really get an idea of how nice this 75mm of front and side armor is. Now I haven't got the screenshot, but I can tell you that this game, the 2,300 damage, netted us 77,000 credits. And that really might be what quite a few are looking for. This T4485 could quite well be a tank that you're maybe looking to pick up to make a lot of credits with, because maybe you want to play a premium medium tank, but maybe the new Chinese tier 8 medium tank, the T34-3, is not quite what you're looking for. So we did 2,300 damage, some of it we weren't even spotting for ourselves, and we were still able to net 77,000 credits. The repair cost on the tank was less than 3,000, and I think even if you get fully destroyed, you're not going to pay more than 4,000 credits to repair this tank. What that means is this tank has quite a nice credit multiplier, and even if you die horribly, you've got no chance of losing money. The only way that you could lose money on this tank is if you fired lots of premium ammunition and didn't penetrate the target. But even if your premium rounds penetrate the target on this tank, you're still going to make money. So guys, that was my review on the T4485. I feel like it is a complete all-rounder, with its only letdown being a slightly weaker gun than other tier 7 medium tanks. I fully recommend this tank if you're looking for something to make a bit of money, and maybe you want to have something unique. I mean, this is going to be the first tier 7 premium medium tank in the game, and with its premium matchmaking, meaning that it cannot even meet tier 9 tanks, that's a fantastic opportunity. I don't know what you guys feel, but I feel that the difference between tier 8 and 9 is massive, and I feel that tier 7 medium tanks can quite easily go against some tier 8 tanks, whereas when they're going against tier 9 tanks, it might make a huge difference with the T4485 because the penetration on the gun is so slight. As I did highlight, I'm using my T62A crew in this tank. They're quite well kitted out, and maybe that might be why you want to get the T4485. Maybe you've got a fantastic crew in one of your tier 10 tanks and you want to train them up while making some money. Anyway guys, if you've appreciated this review or it's been helpful to you, please consider rating it down below. It really helps me out. And tell me what you think about the T4485. Are you going to pick one up? Do you think it's a balanced tank? Do you think this is going to be the new face stomp tank? Do you think it's balanced that it has 75mm of front and side armor and it can still meet tier 5 and 6 tanks and it doesn't have to deal with tier 9 tanks as an example? And how much gold do you think it's going to cost? Or maybe somebody knows for certain. Anyway guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.